Christine Pitawanich with your weekly recap, where we'll be catching you up on some of the biggest stories of the week. Our top story this week: a car hit and killed a 14-year-old in Beaverton while he was headed to football practice on an e-scooter. This is a look at the memorial for Jacob Tran along Southwest Shoals Ferry near Roy Rogers. Jacob was preparing to begin his freshman year at Mountainside High School this fall. He was on his way to a summer football workout when that crash happened Wednesday morning around 6:30. Police say Tran was wearing a helmet and was in a marked crosswalk when he was hit. The 16-year-old driver who hit him stayed at the scene, and police say he is cooperating. Meantime, police in Spokane have arrested a man they say shot and killed a teen last year at a Gresham Park. Detectives identified the suspect as Camarino Videz. They say he shot 17-year-old Jorge Vasquez in an unprovoked attack at Vance Park in January of last year. Earlier this week, law enforcement in Spokane identified Videz while he was in custody for a different case. He is now awaiting extradition to Oregon. And in Vancouver, police are trying to figure out if there is any connection between 4 shootings that broke out in less than 2 weeks. The latest injured a 14-year-old who is thankfully expected to recover. Joe Ranieri spoke with police.
Early Sunday morning, right off General Anderson Avenue in Vancouver, was the scene of another shooting in Vancouver.
It's very concerning when we have gun crimes, especially involving young people in residential areas. So yes, definitely something we're concerned about.
Vancouver police haven't released a lot about what happened, only that a 14-year-old was shot in the leg and was taken to the hospital. According to witnesses, they saw 20 people outside and a car leaving the area after the shooting. I talked with neighbors in the area who didn't want to go on camera, but tell me they don't feel safe in this area. Another shooting happened last week about 3 miles away on Northeast Creston Avenue. 19-year-old London Walker died. Witnesses described seeing a similar chaotic scene as they saw on early Sunday morning.
There's like a large group of people. We had a homicide a couple of weeks ago where that was the case. There was a group of people together.
The suspect in the shooting death of Walker has already been arrested. Kim Kapp with the Vancouver Police Department says they are still trying to determine if these series of shootings are connected. In Sunday's shooting, 2 people were arrested on unrelated charges.
One of them was a teen in possession of a firearm. Both of them were in possession of alcohol. So those were arrests of people in that area as we were investigating the shooting.
Now Kapp is wanting anyone who may have seen something to come forward.
Definitely looking for tips from people who might know something.
Joe Ranieri reporting there. Vancouver police also want anyone who lives in the area to look over any Ring camera video that they might have to see if they can spot anything suspicious. And in Beaverton, police are looking into what happened after a Washington County deputy opened fire early Monday morning in Aloha. Officials say the deputy was responding to reports of a man damaging windows at a McDonald's on Southwest TV Highway just before 1 a.m. The sheriff's office says the deputy fired his gun, but nobody was hit. The suspect was taken into custody. No word on charges. And one of the people investigators say was in a car caught on ODOT cameras driving recklessly around Northeast Portland last weekend appeared in court Monday. Video shows the car blowing through stoplights and also swerving onto the shoulder to get around traffic on a busy I-205. Police eventually used spike strips to stop the car, and the driver bailed out, then made a run for it. Officers caught up with him and say the driver is a minor. The passenger, a 19-year-old, Alvin Santos Rosales, was in court this week. Investigators say they found about 9 pounds of fentanyl inside the car, packaged and ready to be sold. Prosecutors say that's 4.4 kilos, a deadly amount.
We'd like to note for your honor that DEA.gov notes that 2 milligrams is considered a lethal dose. So he had enough to potentially kill the whole city of Portland.
The driver is in juvenile custody and is also facing charges. Portland fire investigators, meantime, hope that you might be able to help them track down whoever set 4 Amazon delivery vehicles on fire early Wednesday morning, destroying them. Flames broke out around 2:30 a.m. in a parking lot near a Rivian service center on Southwest Arthur Street. Fire crews tell us electric vehicle fires like this one are particularly hard to put out and create toxic smoke. In this case, crews found the situation was just too dangerous, so they let the batteries burn themselves out. Call Portland Police if you have any information. In Vancouver, police need your help figuring out who's behind a string of tire and rim thefts. Authorities say the thieves have stolen all of the tires off at least 5 2020 Toyota Corollas in just the past 2 weeks. Though so far, they've turned up very few leads.
We have very limited suspect information at this time, so hoping that our putting some information out on our social media and getting the information out to people will help either someone that might have some video that maybe they thought someone was just changing a tire and they realized that maybe there's a little bit more going on there than they originally thought, or they have someone that knows something and will come forward.
You know, police say there are some steps that you can take to protect your car. First, parallel parking means at least 2 of your tires are up against a curb, making them harder to steal. Second, consider installing locking lug nuts or wheel locks. And finally, try to park in well-lit areas or a place with nearby or cameras nearby. To a KGW investigation into that chemical tank rupture at a Longview paper mill, because it turns out the tank that failed, killing 11 people, had a known problem, one that state regulators and the company were tracking for years. Kyle Aboshi has the update.
We looked through more than 1,000 pages of inspection reports provided by Washington state regulators. To be clear, we don't know what caused the May 26 disaster, but the records show one thing. The white liquor tank had a known issue. A safety valve on top of the tank had a leak, and we don't know if it was ever fixed. Before the Nippon Dynawave disaster in Longview, state records show there was a problem, a leak, on the same tank that spilled white liquor, killing 11 people. And the records show it had been documented for nearly a year.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
On May 26th, emergency crews responded to Nippon Dynawave Packaging in Longview. The plant produces pulp used to make paper products.
Yeah, we need rescue units, fire department, everyone.
Yep, we've got lots of people headed that way.
Investigators haven't determined the cause, but the focus is here. A failed tank that can hold 900,000 gallons of chemicals. It's known as G-Tank. State records say G-Tank is used as a swing tank for black or white liquor or other service, meaning it's not a single-purpose tank. Inspection records show a leak was identified in December 2023. A safety valve on top of the tank was leaking. The valve, known as a pressure vacuum relief breaker, lets gas escape from the white liquor tank or G-Tank. 4 months later, records show the company tried to fix the leak, but the initial repair attempt was unsuccessful. The same report shows final repair reportedly will be delayed until next G-Tank outage. That was supposed to come in May and June of 2024 during a mill-wide shutdown. But it didn't happen. Inspectors wrote during the May-June 2024 total mill outage, NDP, or Nippon Dynawave Packaging, reportedly did not take all units out of service. Specifically, Nippon Dynawave continued to operate their tanks, including their white liquor storage tank, G-Tank. As of September 2024, state records show the leak on G-Tank still hadn't been fixed.
So why it matters is not so much that that particular device was leaking, but that it leaked and it continued to leak.
Industrial safety expert Mike Schmidt of Bluefield Process Safety cautions the leak may not have anything to do with the tank's failure, but it could be an indication of the plant putting off repairs.
Most maintenance can be deferred for a little while with no consequences. It's not like when the oil light comes on your car that you're immediately, the engine's going to blow up. But it does say you need to take care of it, and sooner is better than later.
Under federal rules, the leak itself from a white liquor tank wasn't considered an air quality violation. It was simply noted by state regulators. The Washington Department of Ecology makes it clear state oversight does not include inspections of the structural integrity or process safety of the white liquor tank involved in the May 26th incident. Instead, Nippon Dynawave says it does its own testing to identify any potential cracks or leaks. The company says all liquor storage tanks are scheduled for visual external inspection annually, and leaks are repaired immediately if possible. It's not clear if the leak at G-Tank was ever repaired, when or how. State records make no mention of a fix.
We reached out to Nippon Dynawave for comment. We have not heard back. Again, just for emphasis, we don't know if the leak had anything to do with the tank's failure. For now, production at the plant has been suspended. The investigation, both state and federal, could take months, even years. Kyle Aboshi, KGW News.
And in an update, Oregon's largest school district has officially passed a budget. That happened Wednesday, and many are calling it painful. It's still unclear how many people could lose their job, but district leaders have said it could be as many as 320 full-time positions, including 80 teachers. Rising costs and limited revenue are among what's squeezing the district's budget. A roughly 6-hour board meeting was held this week to discuss the budget and cuts, with some members blaming the state of Oregon for not providing more funding. Though it's worth noting, the state dealt with its own deficit earlier this year.
I think I've had a fatalistic view. I've been like, the state doesn't care about us. They're not giving us the money that we need. All of us went to Salem. We heard that there would be teacher layoffs months ago. I knew it was coming. I've been worried about my kid's first-year teacher.
Tough decisions. Leaders have said they will likely face a budget gap in the tens of millions for the 27-28 school year as well. To Hillsboro, where on Tuesday night the city council there voted to start the censure process against Councilor Christian Salgado after a contentious meeting last week. Much of the uproar had to do with tax incentives for data centers. And things appeared to get a bit personal between some councilors and the public, and even among councilors themselves. Salgado is accused of recording the audience during the meeting and allegedly blowing a kiss at an audience member during the meeting after he says they called him names. Here's a brief excerpt.
Commented.
Everybody, please be quiet.
I don't understand.
Councilor Salgado, please be quiet. I understand the complaint. I get it. And because I just directed people not to taunt him from up here. And I will deal with that later after this meeting. Everyone can maintain some order.
Salgado has since apologized. If councilors vote to censure him, he would also be removed from committees, have to attend bias, harassment, and conflict resolution training, and have his stipend cut in half. Salgado will have a chance to respond during a meeting next month. Less than 2 months before owners plan to shutter the Lloyd Center, some community members are making a last-ditch effort to save it. 2 groups spoke before city councilors on Wednesday, advocating for changes to a development plan approved earlier this year. Now, that plan calls for the demolition of the 60-year-old mall and its ice rink in favor of mixed-use housing and 6 acres of parks, plazas, and public spaces.
We don't think that chucking a mall that was redeveloped 10 years ago or remodeled 10 years ago and has served our community for over 60 years should just be chucked into our local landfills.
Owners of the mall are urging council to approve the master plan, calling the Lloyd Center, quote, no longer economically viable. Council plans to take a vote on July 8th, 1 month before the mall is set to close. New Blazers owner Tom Dundon is standing firm in his belief that public money should be used to renovate the arena, not more investments from him and his ownership group. Now, keep in mind the city owns Moda and has to approve a deal by December in order to unlock hundreds of millions in state and county money. Proponents say it would secure Rip City's future. Evan Watson reports.
Above the Moda Center floor, New Blazers owner Tom Dundon promised one thing. It's a New Blazers era, and he won't tank for better draft picks.
Sounds terrible. They're trying to lose a little bit, and I'm not doing that. So if we'll try to win.
Dundon spoke at the Portland Metro Chamber's annual meeting. Most of the questions,
when you were little, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Were far from hard-hitting.
How do you kick back? How do you relax?
But with the city locked in negotiations with the Blazers over a Moda Center renovation, Dundon explained why he doesn't believe he should pay for part of an arena upgrade, arguing for full public funding.
It feels like we're making a pretty big investment by staying here and paying these tax rates and agreeing to these fees for dollars that go back into the building. It's not that we're taking the money. So.
Portland Mayor Keith Wilson wants the city to chip in at least $120 million. He criticized city council members, saying their indecision will only raise that cost.
But we're slowing this down now. We expected to be doing construction this summer. So I want us to say we can't take our foot off the gas and overthink and overtalk.
A Moda Center renovation could include opportunities to develop the surrounding Albina community, a historically black neighborhood that was torn apart by decades of urban planning. Albina Vision Trust Director Winta Johannes shared her development vision to hundreds of city leaders.
Preventing a mothballed arena is not brave leadership. It is the floor for meeting our collective minimum responsibility.
While some fans and Portlanders are pushing back on using public funds for the Moda Center, Wilson argues it's the city's responsibility, saying he's told NBA Commissioner Adam Silver that Portland will get it done with a few expectations for the future.
We say, okay, we're going to do this, but we need the All-Star game. We need the WNBA All-Star game. We are talking about this in fixed terms.
Evan Watson, KGW News.
Meanwhile, a new era of Blazers basketball is officially underway. And this is on top of the big ownership change, of course, earlier this year, with the team officially introducing its new head coach on Thursday. He is Micah Norrie and comes to Rip City after 5 seasons as an assistant with the Minnesota Timberwolves. He promises, quote, relentless physicality, saying the Blazers will no longer lead the league in turnovers per game. Norrie says he believes the team is focused on winning now and sees high potential.
A playoff roster, adding a future Hall of Famer in this great city with this fan base and the support that we get, it's an opportunity that I could not pass up, and it was ecstatic to take.
The Athletic reports Norrie's contract is a bit unusual with little job security. It's a 1-year deal with team options for the following 2 years, which the team's GM says balances risk and reward. Hey, if you're a fan of small neighborhood spots, there's speculation that a Portland icon could make a comeback in Forest Park. Willamette Week reports plans are underway to reopen the Forest Park Drive-In on Northwest Skyline. It has been closed for decades, since the 1960s. Renovation plans call for new interior walls, a service window onto an outdoor patio, a griddle, and even soft-serve machines. No word yet on when it could open. And the 4th of July is right around the corner, right? And this year, for the first time ever, you could see a piece of Portland history on full display. Now through July 6th, the Oregon Historical Society is showcasing what's believed to be the first American flag raised in Portland after Oregon officially became a state. The 9 by 6 foot flag was hand sewn back in 1861 by Portland resident Anne Elizabeth Bills. It has been in the museum's collection since 1911, but was kept folded up in a case to protect it. The flag underwent some conservation work earlier this year to make sure that it was ready for viewing ahead of America's 250th birthday. So if you'd like to check it out, it's at the Historical Society's museum in downtown Portland. And let's talk about a remarkable journey that began in Washington, now coming to an emotional end. 4 men who set out to row across the Pacific Ocean have arrived safely in Maui. The Row West Pacific crew left Washington May 2nd. They spent 53 days at sea before reaching Hawaii. They made the 3,100-mile crossing with no engine, no sails, and no support boat.
I'd say the hardest thing was just a combination of the elements and sleep deprivation, so I knew we were going to be cold, but I didn't realize we were going to be that cold. And I didn't realize that we were going to be laying in water for days on end. I mean, there was like a period of time for like 4 days where I didn't feel my feet just because they were numb.
Wow, that's something else. The team also raised money for a nonprofit that uses veterans and first responders to help combat human trafficking. Amazing stuff. Now here's a look at your weather.
I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. I want to announce, if you didn't hear this, that the rain that came in Thursday evening amounted to 35/100ths of an inch, which broke the record for daily rain for that date out of PDX. And I'm starting here behind me with the fact that this cool weather pattern that we are now in, that will bring us multiple rain chances, is set to be in place at this point
all the way through your July 4th weekends. It's going to be with us for a good stretch of time. It's also important to note that I'm putting this forecast down for you Friday morning in the 9 o'clock hour. You should always know when your forecasts have been put down because things can change. But this is what we're dealing with. See the enclosed circle right here? This is 18,000 feet, 500 millibar flow pattern. The enclosed contour of pressure is an upper level low. It's going to move into a Saturday. So we are projecting Saturday to be a pretty active shower day. And if you're worried about when's it going to get hot again, well, here's the upper level high sitting out in the Pacific. As I animate this, notice this high weakens and then basically retreats back out into open water. There it goes. So that opens the door for us to be in a solid week plus of these lows migrating out of the Gulf of Alaska down into our area, keeping our temperatures below normal for the season and giving us, as I mentioned, multiple good news, we'll call it rain chances. So the headline of what I just talked about, no 80s through July 5th, meaning highs in Portland will be in the 60s and 70s, and more low 70s than mid 70s. Showers this weekend that we're now in, more showers to come next week, and there's actually modeling that picks up rain with temperatures in the 60s on Saturday, July 4th. So we'll keep watching all of that for you. Now, up until Friday evening, on this Friday that I'm putting this down, is a red flag warning out in southeastern Oregon. The concern here is thunderstorms on this Friday afternoon evening could lead to erratic wind gusts of 50 miles per hour. But there's some good news because this same area has already received several hours of rain moving across. So there has been some decent, what we refer to as wetting on the ground. So hopefully any lightning strikes do not ignite wildfires, but that will be watched carefully. Hey, here's the upper level low that we just talked about. It's going to be drifting down into us, giving us rain chances. Here's the way Futurecast shows it. Thunderstorms this afternoon in southeastern Oregon. Here's your Saturday. Scattered showers picking up on the west side, scattered showers out east in the afternoon. Still some pretty good chunks of rain coming in off the Pacific. I just want to focus on the rain Saturday here in the Willamette Valley. Picking up in the morning. This is more wet than not at 1 p.m. There's some spotty downpours mixed in. Could be some rumbles of thunder as well, maybe even some hail. And the snow level Saturday as low as 5,500 feet. That would be snow showers at Timberline. So impact alert for a heavy shower day on Saturday, 65. Sunday's a lingering shower threat. And then after that, we stay cool, as I mentioned, well into next week.
A little bit of everything in that forecast. Well, that is a wrap on your weekly recap. Again, I'm Christine Padawanich. You can catch the latest headlines anytime on our website, kgw.com, your KGW app, or our YouTube channel.